I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, January the 20th, brought to you in part by the National Beef Wire, which is our website, keeping you up to date with everything that's going on in the cattle business, all your products, all your production sales with purebred, top quality replacement stock there, your featured sale barn markets, and just about everything that you need to know about the cattle business. It features this report every business day and real-time market quotes too. But you need to be checking out nationalbeefwire.com and put a bookmark on that. But the trade deals that Trump has got going have been dominating the news. Last week we signed the phase 1 of the China deal, and we're hoping to get into China more. We've never really gotten in there too good with our beef, but they're really getting hungry now because they've lost so much of their pork production with that African swine fever, and we really got big hopes of getting in there, and that could be gangbusters. This week we're going to be talking more about the USMCA deal that's replacing NAFTA. Not going to change things much as far as the beef business goes, but we're hoping that it soothes over some things, and we get more trade bolstered with our closest neighbors to the north and to the south. But that's gotten past now, because every time they do something to Trump furthering his impeachment, they will throw him a bone and give him a small victory there, because they do know that those things are good for our country, even though they don't want to give him a victory. But USMCA will be talked about a lot this week. We recently had a deal with Japan, hoping to get our Japanese shipments of beef back where they were before mad cow disease broke out. But look at the board last week, which was mostly lower on cattle. But February live cattle futures, Monday was down 87 cents, Tuesday up 30, Wednesday down a quarter, Thursday down 47 cents, and Friday up 22. With February live cattle ending the week at 126.35. That was down $1.07. April ended the week at 127.25, down 70 cents. January feeder cattle, Monday was down $1.57, Tuesday down 12, Wednesday down 47 cents, Thursday was unchanged, and Friday down 7 cents. With January feeder cattle ending the week at 145.35, down 2.25. March ended the week 145 flat, down 245. Your fat cattle trade for last week, negotiated cash in your 5-area feeding region through Thursday, 66,400 head. Pretty decent movement. That's about what we've been seeing for the week. Through Thursday, of that 66,400, 62,600 of them traded on Thursday. So we'll kind of see how things wrap up, if there was much more cleanup trade there. But basically still steady, and it's been steady so far all this year pretty much. There was a little bit of weakness on the dress side, but for the most part your live sales were all steady. But live steers and heifers in your 5-area feeding region trading direct out of the feedlots from 123 to 126.50. Mostly all at 124, and there wasn't near as much 125 as we had the previous week, so there's going to be some weakness on your weighted average price that comes out on Monday. Dress sales, steers and heifers, $1.98 to $2 even, mostly $1.99, and that is a buck lower for Nebraska, especially because they had the bulk of their dress sales at $2 even. So a little bit of weakness in your fat cattle trade, but not bad, and that's just about where we were at a year ago. And guys are making money at this, and they say the packers are losing money at this. So that's kind of where we're at. We're kind of at a standoff right there, trying to gain any more ground on this, even though our market ready supplies are light, and our front end supplies in the feedlots are very, very heavy, with a lot of cattle that's just been placed for the last 30, 45 days. Box beef cutout values for the week, your weighted average on last week's trade, choice cuts, $212.58. That was $2.84 higher than the previous week's weighted average. Selects weighted average $210.48 for last week's trades, up $3.80 continuing to narrow that choice select spread. It may become inverted at some point, but choice select spread on your weighted average on your total sales last week, $2.10 is just nothing. It hasn't been that long ago before since it was 20 to 30 cents difference there. But 614 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. And you wonder, why is that choice select spread so narrow? Well, we're not doing a lot of grilling right now, so there's not a big drive for your middle meats there as far as what we would see if we started to see some spring demand. But that'll start coming here before too long, guys, and it always does. But our cattle are grading better right now because the ones coming out of the feedlot are some of those summer yearlings, the green grass yearlings that they moved in July and August. And those cattle are the best doing cattle of the year. They've got a little tick of age to them because they grew them out there on cheap gain there on grass, and made them big there, and then they're coming off bigger. They feed the big weights, and they're coming out of the feedlot weighing a lot too. And they just perform better and they grade better. So there's a lot of better grading cattle up there, and we still need select cuts. You think, who buys that? There's a lot of supermarkets and a lot of restaurants, a lot of food service that features select meat, and it's kind of got a standing demand there. So it's not going to change a whole lot, and as their choice comes down, they're just going to come closer together. But this narrow choice select spread is hurting our grid sellers, the ones that sell the better top quality cattle, mostly in the northern plains, because there's just not a lot of premium to give there, and they're starting to question how well they like doing that, and more of them thinking that maybe they'll just sell on the average. You would think that the way that's going, you would see guys back up a little bit when they're buying their feeder cattle and buy a plainer end of feeder cattle. Some more crossbreds and things like that are likely going to end up grading choice, but they don't do that. They're just as particular as ever when they're buying their calves and buying their yearlings. It's hard for them to get out of step, and those that handle the better kind of cattle, that's just what they feed, that's what they're comfortable with, that's what they know how they'll perform. And then you've got guys, most of your big corporates, that buy plainer type cattle, and we'll talk about some of those here after a while. Your slaughter for last week, 631,000. That was 9,000 less than the previous week, as they're really starting to scale things back because, like I said, they're not making any money, and a lot of people say they're losing money. If you ever toured one of those plants and watched all those specific products that they keep out of the offal and things like that because they've got a demand for it, I wonder if all that's figured in when they're talking about packer margins there. And it's hard for me to believe that they're losing any money on those things, because there's always something in there, whether it's kidney stones or whatever to grind up for aphrodisiac or pancreases or whatever it is. There's some demand in there for specific things that come out of those carcasses, and I tell you what, they use them all up, and a lot of it for cosmetic products, and just they don't waste any of those carcasses. There's products that people use out there that come from one end of that cow to the other. But 631,000 was 5,000 more than the same week a year ago, so pretty close there. And I told you they're scaling back mostly on Saturday. Only 27,000 head were expected to be slaughtered this past Saturday. You compare that back to after the plant fire there in Holcomb, Kansas, when they were killing over 75,000 on Saturday pretty much every week there for a couple of months. But let's look at your things that are going on this week around the circuit. Joplin Regional Stockyards got their big Monday sale here, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6,000 head. And then don't forget, Joplin's got one of their primetime livestock video sales coming up this Thursday, January 23rd. You can watch both of those sales, the on-site sale and the video sale, at dvauction.com, or you can go to joplinstockyards.com or Primetime Livestock Video and tap into those sales too. Also, Western Video Market has a sale coming up on Thursday here, the 23rd, and this internet sale is going to be in conjunction with the Red Bluff Bull and Gelding sale and Stock Dog sale there. And I've never been to that event, but they say it is quite a time and brings in a lot of people. It'll be interesting to see how that sale works out. You can watch both the Western Video Market sale and the Red Bluff Bull and Gelding and Stock Dog sale on dvauction.com, and that's coming up this Thursday for Western sale, and then Friday and Saturday for Red Bluff. But look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction is 145 1/4. That was down 85 cents from the previous week. And we did see it a little bit cheaper around. Your cash feeders for the week, your trends in your auction markets, your bigger feeder cattle were mostly steady early and through the mid part of the week, turning $1 to $2 lower, and spots as much as $5 lower, especially on the steers. And you think, why is that? Well, the steers had grown to quite a premium to the heifers because we were seeing most of our demand come out of the northern plains, farmer feeders and the likes up there, and that's what they really push on is the steers, and they really back off the heifers. Are not interested in them at all, don't want to mess with the MGA or whatever, and they just rather have the steers. But this past week, you know, I've been talking about how these guys selling fat cattle are making some money. These cattle would kind of hedge here for a while, and we're seeing more of your typical big commercial lots coming in, and they're bringing that back together. They're not going to pay that giant price for the steers, just about as soon have the heifers. Of course, that heifer price, and then they know that they'll bring the same whenever they get done with them. But there was definitely lower markets on your bigger feeder steers later in the week, and that little bubble that we had after the first of the year where things were really good after we shook some pen space loose, that has gone away completely and actually backed off here, and guys are kind of backing off of your big cattle, and we're starting to see them get more and more interested in your stocker type cattle and your lightweight calves, especially that have all the options there. You can you know, put a cheap gain on them here. You can keep them, you can sell them several times during their lifespan there, and you just have a world of options with those lightweight calves, and they're really going after those here the last week or so, and we expect that to continue. But your stocker calves and lightweight calves, $3 to $6 higher, and spots more than that around your sale barns in the circuit. But we're expecting your high volume Monday sales here to be a little bit lower on your feeder cattle, so you can kind of expect that here on Monday. Look at a few individual quotes, and not any big eye openers, but just kind of showing you what's going on around. You know, I talked about the plainer type cattle that they feed, especially down here in the Texas Panhandle. A lot of those will be Mexican cattle. You can buy those, and anybody can buy them there. Santa Teresa Livestock Market down in Santa Teresa, New Mexico. That's right on the border, right on this side. And these are Mexican origin cattle coming into the United States, and they bring a pretty good price, and they got a nice, pretty new auction facility where they sell them, and it's on a Saturday. And this past Saturday, included in that was 110 head of 619-pound steers that bring 148, and those will be Mexican origin cattle coming into the United States. Go up in the northern plains, St. Ange Livestock, St. Ange, South Dakota, 77 head of lightweight 409-pound steers bring 191, and then it pays in Billings, Montana, public auction yards there, 93 head of 670-pound steers bring 155. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.